The will of nature is to be learned out of things in which we do not differ from each other. For example, when another's servant breaks the cup, it is handy at once to say, "It is of the things happening." So be aware that when your cup is broken, you should be such as when that of another is broken. Thus alter also the greater things. Another's child or wife has died. There is no one who would not say that it is human. However, when someone of one's own dies, at once, "Ah me, I am wretched." But one must remember what we suffer hearing about the same of others. Just as a mark is not set up in order to be missed, so neither does the nature of evil occur in the universe. If someone turned over your body to anyone, you would be upset, but that you turn over your mind to any chance, so that if they insult you, it is disturbed and troubled, are you not ashamed on account of this? In each action, consider the leading things and its following things, and so upon the action itself. If not, you will come to it at first enthusiastically, without having thought of the next things. But later, when some difficulties show up, you will withdraw disgracefully. Do you wish to win the Olympics? I do too, by the gods, for it is exquisite. However, consider the leading things and the things following, and so take hold of the action. It is necessary for you to be disciplined, to eat strictly, to keep off sweets, to exercise under compulsion at an appointed hour, in heat, in cold, not to drink cold water, nor wine as it chances. Absolutely as to a physician to give yourself over to the trainer, when in the contest to dig in alongside, it is possible then to throw out a hand, to sprain an ankle, swallow much sand, perhaps be beaten, and with all these things be defeated. Having considered these things, if you still intend to, enter upon athletics. If not, you will be turning back like children, who now play at wrestling, and now at single combat, and now at athletics, then at tragedy. So also you are now an athlete, and now a gladiator, then an orator, then a philosopher. But with the whole soul, nothing. But like an ape, imitate everything which you see, and one after another whatever strikes you. For you did not go into anything with consideration nor circumspection, but rashly, and according to cold desire. Thus some, having seen a philosopher, and having heard thus someone talking, like Euphrates talks, yet who could speak like him? They wish also to philosophize themselves. Person, first consider what is the matter, and then learn your nature, if you can bear it. Do you wish to be in the pentathlon or a wrestler? Look at your arms, thighs, study the loins, for another has a nature for another thing. Do you think that doing these things you can eat the same way, drink the same way, get angry similarly, be displeased similarly? It is necessary to stay awake, to work, to go away from the household, to be condemned by a servant, to be ridiculed by everyone, to have the worst in everything, in honor, in office, in justice, in every affair. Consider these things, if you are willing to exchange for these calm, freedom, tranquility. But if not, do not approach, not like children, now a philosopher, but later a tax collector, then an orator, then an administrator of Caesar. These things do not harmonize. But you must be one person, either good or bad. You must work out of yourself, either the leading or the externals, either to love the art concerning inside things or concerning outside things. That is, either take the position of a philosopher or of an average person. Proper things in general are measured by the conditions. It is a father. One is required to take care, to yield in all things, to hold up when insulted, struck. But the father is bad. What then? You are not related to a good father by nature, but to a father. The brother is unjust. So then maintain your position to him. Do not consider what he does, but what you are doing to keep your preferring according to nature. For another will not harm you if you are not willing. but then you will be harmed when you assume you are harmed. So then from the neighbor, from the citizen, from the general, you will discover the proper thing, if you are in the habit of seeing the conditions. Concerning piety toward the gods, be aware that the most lordly is that, to have correct conceptions about them as existing, and administering the things whole, beautifully, and justly, and to have appointed yourself into this, to obey them and to submit to everything happening, and to follow voluntarily, as being accomplished by the best intelligence. For thus you will never blame the gods, nor accuse them for neglecting. But no other way can this happen than by withdrawing from things not in your power, and putting good and bad only on things in your power. Since if you conceive of any of the former as good or bad, by absolute necessity, when you fail in things you wish and fall into things you do not wish, you will blame and hate those responsible. For this is the nature of all living things, to flee and turn aside from things appearing harmful, and things responsible for them, and to go after and admire things beneficial, and things responsible for them. Thus it is impractical for someone thinking they are being harmed to be glad at what seems to be harming, just as it is impossible to be glad at the harm itself. Therefore even a father is insulted by a son, when he does not share with the child what seems to be good. And this made Polynices and Antiochus enemies to each other, thinking tyranny was good. Because of this also the farmer insults the gods. Because of this the sailor, because of this the merchant, because of this the ones who have lost wives and children. For where the profit is, there also is piety. Therefore whoever is careful of desire and aversion as one should, at the same time also is taking care of piety. But it is fitting to pour libations and offer and sacrifice according to ancestral ways each time purely, and not slovenly, nor carelessly, nor sparingly, nor beyond ability. When you undertake divination, remember that what the outcome will be you do not know, but you have come inquiring it from the diviner, and you have come knowing what sort it is, if you are a philosopher. For if it is anything not in your power, it is absolutely necessary for it to be neither good nor bad. So do not bring to the diviner desire or aversion, nor approach them trembling, but resolving that every outcome is indifferent and nothing to you, and whatever it may be, it will be beautifully useful to one, and no one will prevent this. So be confident in going to the gods as to counselors, and leaving, when some counsel is given to you, remember whom you have taken as counselors and whom you disregard disobeying. But go to divination just as Socrates went, in things where all speculation has reference to the outcome, and neither from logic nor from any other skill is it given to begin to view the things exposed. Therefore, when one should incur danger with a friend or country, do not divine if the danger should be incurred. For if the diviner foretells to you the omens are poor, it is clear that death is indicated, or maiming of some part of the body, or exile. But reason requires even with this to stand by the friend and incur danger with the country. Therefore pay attention to the greater diviner, the Pythian, who threw out of the temple one who had not helped a friend being murdered. Appoint for yourself already some character and model which you may keep by yourself and meeting with people. And be silent most of the time, or talk the necessities and in few words. But rarely, when opportunity invites speaking, speak. But about none of the ordinary things. Not about gladiators, not about horse races, not about athletes, not about food or drink, things said everywhere, and especially not about people, faulting or praising or comparing. So you may be able to change it by your words, and those of the companions to what is proper. But if you are caught by chance among strangers, be silent. Do not laugh much, nor at many things, nor unrestrained. Decline an oath, if possible at all, but if not, it is out of one's power. Avoid feasts of those outside and average persons, But if at some time an opportunity occurs, let your attention be alert. Never then slip into mediocrity. For be aware that if the companion be defiled, also the one rubbing up against him must be defiled, even though one happens to be clean. In things concerning the body, take only the bare necessities, such as food, drink, clothing, shelter, servants. But draw the line at all glamour and luxury. Concerning sexuality, be as pure as possible before marriage, but in engaging, participate in what is lawful. However, do not be annoying nor examining to those indulging, nor bring forward often the fact that one does not indulge. If someone reports to you that a certain person speaks badly of you, do not defend against the things said, but answer, "For they did not know the other bad approaches to me, otherwise these would not be the only things said." It is not necessary to go to shows often, but if at some time there is an opportunity, do not show seriousness for anyone other than yourself. That is, wish only for the things happening to happen, and only for those winning to win, for thus you will not be thwarted. But refrain completely from shouting and laughing at anyone, or from being much stirred up. Also, after leaving, do not discuss much about what occurred, except as it bears on your improvement, for it appears from such that the sight was amazing. Do not go rashly nor readily to people's readings, but going be solemn and steady, and at the same time keep inoffensive. When you are about to meet someone, especially those held in eminence, propose to yourself, what would Socrates or Zeno have done in this situation, and you will not be at a loss to make proper use of the event. When you resort to some of great power, propose that you will not find them in, that you will be shut out, that the doors will be slammed on you, that they will pay no attention to you. And if it is proper to go into this, go bearing what happens, and never say to yourself, "It was not so great." For the average person also is offended by externals. In your conversation, stay away from remembering much and excessively your own actions or dangers, for it is not as pleasant for others, thus also to hear of your adventures, as it is pleasant for you to remember your dangers. Stay away also from arousing laughter, for the slippery manner relaxes into vulgarity, and at the same time the respect of neighbors for you. It is also precarious to go on into foul language. So when some such thing occurs, if it be well timed, even reprove the one going into it. And if not, keep silent and blush and frown, to make clear you are displeased by the word. When you receive an impression of some pleasure, as with others, watch yourself, not to be carried off by it. However, let it wait upon your business, and get some delay for yourself. Next, remember both the times when you will enjoy the pleasure, and when, having enjoyed it, later you will repent and reproach yourself. And, against these, refraining, how much you will be glad and commend yourself. But if an opportunity appears to you to engage in the action, be sure you are not overcome by its softness and pleasure and attraction, but set against it how much better is the awareness for yourself to have won a victory over it. When you have decided to do something, that it is to be done, never avoid being seen doing it, even though many people will likely suppose something different about it. For if you are not acting correctly, avoid the action itself. But if you are acting correctly, why should you fear those chastising not correctly? Just as it is day and it is night, in separation have great value, but in combination are without value, so also to select a larger portion for the body may have value, but in community at a feast one should be able to observe it is without value. So when you are eating with another, remember, look at not only the value of what is presented for the body, but also keep respect for the host. If you take up some role beyond your power, both are you in this dishonored, and you are unable to fulfill what you left behind. Just as you pay attention in walking around not to step on a nail or sprain your foot, so be sure also not to hurt your leadership. And if we observe this in each action, we shall reach more security of action. The body of each is the measure of property as the foot of the shoe. So if you establish this, you will keep the measure. But if you go beyond it, as down from a cliff you must be carried. So also with the shoe, if you go beyond the foot, the shoe becomes gilded, then purple, embroidered. For once beyond the measure, there is no limit. Women, right after 14 years, are called ladies by the men. Therefore, seeing that there is nothing else for them, but only to sleep with men, they begin to beautify themselves, and in this put all hopes. So it is valuable to make sure they understand that they are honored for nothing else than to appear orderly and modest. It is a sign of the unnatural to waste time on what concerns the body, as on much exercise, on much eating, on much drinking, on much defecating, copulating. However, these may be done in passing, but let all the attention be concerning the mind. When someone treats you badly or speaks badly, remember that thinking it is proper they do or say so. So they are not able to follow what appears so to you, but to themselves, so that if it appears wrong to them, they are hurt, who are also deceived. For if someone supposes that a compound truth is false, the compound truth is not hurt, but the one deceived. So starting from this, you will be gentle to the insulting. For declare each time, it seemed so to them. Every matter has two handles, one for carrying, the other not for carrying. If your brother wrongs, do not take hold of it from here, that he wrongs, for this is the handle not to carry it by, but rather from there, that he is a brother, that you were nurtured together, and you will take it as it is carried. These reasonings are not coherent. I am wealthier than you, thus I am better than you. I am more eloquent than you, thus I am better than you. But these are more coherent. I am wealthier than you, thus my property is better than yours. I am more eloquent than you, thus my speech is better than yours. But you are neither property nor speech. Someone bathes quickly. Do not say that it is bad, but that it is quick. Someone drinks much wine. Do not say that it is bad, but that it is much. For until you understand the belief, how do you know whether it is bad? Thus it will not result for you to receive some repressed impressions, but agree to others. Never say you are a philosopher, nor speak much among average people about principles, but do what follows from principles. For example, at a banquet, do not say how one should eat, but eat as one should. For remember how thus Socrates completely avoided display, such that they came to him wishing to be introduced to philosophers by him, and he took them along. Thus he bore being overlooked. And if some argument about principle arises among average people, be silent most of the time. For great is the danger you will immediately vomit out what you have not digested. And when someone says to you that you know nothing and you are not stung, then be aware that you may be beginning the action. Since even sheep do not bring fodder to the shepherds to show how much they have eaten, but digesting pasture inside produce outside wool and milk. And you then do not show off principles to average people, but the actions from their having been digested. When you are adapted frugally according to the body, do not embellish on this at all. Do not, if you drink water, on every occasion say that you drink water. And if you ever intend to train for endurance, do it for yourself and not for the ones outside. Do not embrace statues, but when very thirsty, draw in cold water and spit it out and say nothing. Position and character of the average. Never from themselves do they expect benefit or harm, but from ones outside. position and character of a philosopher. Every benefit and harm is expected from oneself. Signs of the progressing. They blame no one, praise no one, fault no one, accuse no one, say nothing about themselves as though being someone or knowing something. If someone praises them, they laugh to themselves at the one praising. If blamed, they make no defense. They go around like the feeble, taking care about moving any of what is set until it has been fixed. They keep out of themselves every desire, and they transfer aversion only to things against nature in our power. They use unrestrained effort toward everything. If they seem foolish or unlearned, they do not care. In a word, as a treacherous enemy, they guard themselves. When someone thinks they can expound and interpret the books of Chrysippus, say to yourself, if Chrysippus had not written obscurely, this one would have nothing upon which to interpret. But what do I want? To understand nature and follow her. So I seek someone who is expounding. And having heard that Chrysippus does, I go to him. But I do not understand what has been written, so I seek the one expounding. And so far of these there is nothing holy yet. But when I find the one expounding, it remains to use the instructions. This itself is alone the holy. But if I admire this expounding itself, what other accomplishment is it other than grammatical instead of philosophical? Except that instead of Homer it is expounding Chrysippus. So rather, when someone says to me, "Read to me Chrysippus," I blush, when I cannot show similar actions harmonizing with the words. Whatever is proposed, stay with these like laws, as though it would be profane for you to overstep them. But whatever anyone may say about you, pay no attention, for this is still not yours. For how much longer will you put off valuing yourself worthy of the best, and in nothing step over logical distinctions? You received the principles with which you should agree, and you have agreed. So what kind of teacher are you still expecting, that you postponed for that, making corrections of yourself? You are no longer a boy, but already a grown man. If now you are careless and take it easy, and always make advances out of advancement, and schedule for other days upon other days, after which you will pay attention to yourself, escaping yourself you will not progress, but you will continue in mediocrity both living and dying. So already value your life as perfect and progress, and let everything appearing best to you be unchangeable law. And if you meet anything laborious or sweet, or notable or unnotable, remember that now is the contest, and already present are the Olympics, and it is not possible to put it off any longer, and that on a single day and in one matter progress is both lost and saved. Thus Socrates became accomplished, by paying attention in every encounter of his to nothing else but reason. And even if you are not yet a Socrates, as one wishing to be a Socrates, you ought to live. The first and most necessary topic in philosophy is the using of principles, such as not lying. The second is demonstrating, such as why should one not lie. The third is confirming and discriminating from these, such as how does this demonstrate it? For what is a demonstration? What a consequence? What a conflict? What true? What false? Therefore the third topic is necessary because of the second, and the second because of the first. And most necessary, and where one should halt, is the first. But we do the contrary, for we spend time on the third topic, and all our effort is concerning that, while we completely neglect the first. Therefore we lie, but we have handy how to demonstrate that one should not lie. Upon every occasion one must have handy these things. Lead me, Zeus, and you also Destiny, to where I am assigned by you, as I follow untiring, and if I am not willing, becoming bad, none the less I shall follow. Whoever with necessity complies well is wise by us, and in things divine skilled. But Credo, if this is friendly to the gods, let it be this. Anytus and Miletus can kill me, but not hurt me.